ready for an exhilarating journey in the Artemis Rescue. Come along with us as we accompany the Starship Artemis's crew on a risky quest to free a stranded queen from rebel control. As we go through the depths of space, get ready for thrilling action and surprising turns. The Starship Artemis was surrounded by an immense, dark expanse of space, with a tiny dot of human ingenuity speeding through the empty Virgo supercluster within the command center. The quiet hum of the ship was their constant companion as they stood, with their hands clasped behind their backs, staring at the large view screen that showed the swirling galaxies and star systems passing by his crew. This group of seasoned space travelers and youthful officers filled with vigor and curiosity manned their stations, and suddenly, the tranquility of their routine exploration was shattered by the sharp, urgent beep of the communications console. With a mixture of astonishment and alarm in her voice, Tara, the communications officer, adjusted her earpiece and scowled as she isolated the signal that the captain was receiving a distress signal. Leo quickly turned as his curiosity piqued. "Where is it coming from?" "It's coming from the Thassa quarantine zone." She answered by typing quickly at her panel to hone the signal source. "It's weak and jumbled, but it's unquestionably there. A royal distress code from the Asian system." An anxious yet curious murmur went across the bridge crew. After a tense moment, Tara looked up from her screens, her expression solemn yet certain that it's genuine, Captain. "The encryption and royal codes match our last known records of the Asian royalty. It's an official plea for help." The weight of the decision before him was not lost on Leo. Entering the quarantine zone was a significant risk. The Asian system had been a no-go zone for centuries, ever since it was ravaged by a civil war that left its society in shambles and its royal family in isolation. "Can we verify the authenticity of the signal?" Leo asked. He stopped, weighing the political and physical risks and the ramifications of their next move. The team turned to him for instructions, their expressions displaying a mixture of resolve and expectation. Since Leo had never shied away from a call for assistance, regardless of the source or the danger, he knew exactly how he would respond even before he spoke. The ethos of their goal to investigate and aid was evident. All mission rules must be followed, and if there's any possibility we might help, we must seize it, since we might be the Queen's only hope. As the Artemis raced across space, a strong sense of both exhilaration and apprehension permeated the ship. Thassa's impending arrival on the view screen served as a harsh reminder of how important their task was. Leo Grant, the captain, called his top aides into the strategy room to approve their plan of attack and extraction. The soft glow of holographic displays filled the room, each displaying a distinct facet of Thassa, such as historical information on the royal family or topographical maps. Leo faced his crew while standing at the front, his composed expression belying the rush of adrenaline he was feeling. "Our main goal," Leo started, pointing to the hologram of a majestic yet ominous palace, indicating that someone was about to break into the royal palace and take the queen hostage. Rumor has it that a group of rebels opposed to her reign was holding her against her will. The tactical display was reviewed by Jonas, the ship security chief, and a former Marine. His background in warfare and strategic operations made him essential to the mission's success. "What's our entry point?" he said, analyzing the layout for any weak point. Every member inspected their emergency medkits, communication gadgets, and stun guns. With a shiver, the Artemis dropped into the Thassa, entering its atmosphere, just as anti-aircraft defenses sensed their uninvited presence. "It's going to get nasty, so buckle up." Leo maneuvered the ship with precision, dodging flares and energy guns that lit up the night sky. Over the roar of the engines and the whimper of the defense systems, Leo yelled. The landing was a controlled crash, with Artemis bucking under the strain, but managing to hold together as they touched down in the forest cover. The ship was soon engulfed in thick alien foliage as they disembarked. The alien air was tense and filled with the scent of ozone, signaling the impending storm. The team moved quickly, using the impending storm and the darkness as allies in their quest to save a queen, possibly changing the course of the entire world. They advanced toward the royal city, with each step taking them closer to the center of an alien civilization that was both majestic and ripped apart by strife. As the Artemis descended through the tumultuous atmosphere of Thassa, the ship shook violently under the force of anti-aircraft fire bursting from the surface. Their purpose was obvious, but the path was treacherous and full of unknown risks. The crew buckled up as the ship plunged through layers of thick, electrified clouds that lit up with the flash of enemy fire. Leo piloted the craft with expert precision, dodging incoming assaults with swift maneuvers. He yelled over the roaring engines and the blasts that rocked the ship from near misses. Aara kept an eye on the communications array to make sure their stealth devices were working properly and hiding their fall from the most sophisticated sensors. The crew disembarked from the Artemis quickly, leaving the landscape around them scarred by the remnants of battle, with ruins of what were once grand structures, now barely recognizable, overtaken by wild flora that had claimed the war-torn city Latun. Move out, stay sharp, and stick to the shadows. Jonas kept an eye on the tactical display, his hands gripping the armrests as he felt every evasive action Leo took. "We're almost through, ready for a quick disembark," he announced, checking his weapon one more time. Finally, the Artemis touched down with a jarring thud on the outskirts of the royal city. The team moved with precision, each step calculated to avoid detection, as Leo led them into the dense foliage that skirted the path toward the palace and through the dilapidated outskirts. The palace was now visible, a towering structure silhouetted against Thassa's two moons, its turrets and spires casting long shadows over the broken city. As they approached the eastern wing, the damage from the recent skirmish was evident. The wall had partially collapsed, providing a covert entrance. Rich tapestries hung from the walls and lush carpets covered the floors as Jonas led the way, scanning for any signs of electronic surveillance or traps. When everything seemed clear, he whispered, signaling for the group to follow. They slipped through the wall breach and entered the shadowy interior of the palace. The passageways were lined with statues and artworks portraying Asian history. Unaffected by the mayhem outside, they moved, revealing a figure slumped on the throne, Queen Aa. Her appearance was both regal and weary. Her elegant attire was worn and slightly disheveled, indicating her prolonged distress. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice echoing slightly in the large ornate room. "We're here to rescue you, Your Majesty," Leo said, stepping forward. "Your distress call was received." Tears formed in Ake's eyes, thinking no one would dare come. Leo responded with a smile that appeared to reassure her. Queen Aa slowly ascended from her throne, her movements rigid from lack of use. "The rebels, who had taken control of the planet, wanted to force me to abdicate and banish me from planet Terra." Terra had been silently observing the exits as they approached. "Your Majesty, we must go swiftly. Can you walk?" "Yes, but where are we going?" she questioned, her voice unsure. "Returning to our ship because it is secure there, and we can remove you from this world." As they were about to depart, Leo clarified. A tiny, elaborate box on a nearby pedestal caught A's attention. "I must take that with me," she remarked, pointing out that it held the royal seal, without which the throne's legitimacy may be in jeopardy. After swiftly retrieving the box and shoving it safely into his pack, the gang retraced their steps through the halls, moving covertly to prevent being discovered. The trip through the palace was dangerous. Sirens started to sound, reverberating down the corridors and drawing waves of guards toward them. As they ducked into a service corridor, Leo led the group through secret passageways and lesser-known routes that Terra's maps revealed. Jonas covered their backs, his weapon ready at all times, and he checked for followers. The tension was palpable, and every team member knew that the stakes were higher now that the Queen was among them. As they approached the exit, a loud explosion rocked the palace, alerting them to the need to stop the Queen from leaving at all costs. Leo observed with dismay as they bolted from the palace into the night and ran into the forest, concealing the emissary behind them. The sounds of pursuit intensified, including yells, running, footsteps, and the occasional gunshot. Jonas fired back, hitting the pursuer with pinpoint accuracy. "Move too close, move, move." When the Queen was struggling to hold pace, Leo yelled at her to hurry up. Eventually, they saw the Artemis ahead of them, with its ramp lowered in anticipation of their arrival. Tara assisted Ayla up the ramp while Leo and Jonas guarded the entrance, firing back to keep the guards at bay. Once everyone was on board, Leo gave the order, and the MS lifted off as more explosions marked their departure. The ship shook fiercely, but Leo was able to stabilize it as they soared, leaving Thassa's atmosphere behind and Thassa receding behind them. This is a blazing testament to the daring rescue. Queen AA turned to Leo and said, "We believe in helping where we can, no matter the risk." She stood on the deck of the Artemis and looked out into space. "I never believed rescue would come, especially not from humans," she remarked. Leo said, "I am eternally grateful for that," as they raced away from the dangerous planet, while Aara spoke in a firmer, now hopeful voice. The return trip to Earth was uneventful, but it was full of conversations about the future and the consequences of their actions. They shared stories about Thailand's history and culture, offering insights into the struggles of her people, and as Earth got closer, Leo thought about the implications of their mission. They had entered a quarantine zone, defied a rebel faction, and removed a queen. He knew that the political fallout would be severe, but he also knew that they had made the right decision. When they arrived back, the United Space Federation hailed the Artemis crew as heroes. Queen Aara spoke to the assembly, her leadership style obvious, and she proposed a new alliance between her people and humanity, a partnership born from the courage and compassion shown by the Artemis crew. As our thrilling adventure comes to a close, we celebrate the bravery and heroism of the Artemis crew. Their daring rescue mission not only saved a queen, but forged new bonds between civilizations. Stay tuned for more exciting journeys in the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating content. Until next time, may the stars illuminate your path.